Happy Saturday, everybody.
How's everybody doing out there? This is Terrence and Jill.
How are y'all doing? What's today? September
24th.
24th.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. It's been a while since we had a video. I think the last video was the beginning of September. Anyway, since we did our last video, we have now crossed over the 400 subscriber mark. So,
Yes, thank you.
thank you. Because we ain't trying to do this for no subscribers. As a matter of fact, we didn't even know we had subscribers until we were well over 200 subscribers. And so, yeah, we weren't trying to do this for no, yeah. So, but we're glad you're here. And we just realized that it is our God's called us to do this. So we're going to continue to do it as long as he wants us to do it.
Yes.
All right. Whether it's one subscriber or one listener or whoever, we don't even know we don't even know who's following us. Maybe one or two or three people, but we hope you all are being blessed.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So
We got a good
today,
one for y'all today, though.
oh my gosh, we've been talking about this all week, and it's something that's been brewing because I hear it often,
Yes.
whether it's on social media, TV, wherever. It's a topic that is very popular,
Yeah.
and
And it's probably spoken most of the time by women
by women.
than men, but it is a huge topic for both.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And we got to talk about it. And so, if you know how we do, we're going to give you the topic, and we are going to break it down in numbers. So we got 5 of them.
Yes.
And this topic, let me just say before we talk about it, this is for like if you are in a situation where you have already established interest, a mutual interest with this person. So it can be in the beginning stages of a relationship or even well into marriage.
Yes.
So this is not that topic of, because we had a topic that we did in the beginning. If you haven't seen the video of when he says he's not ready. So this is not that being ready. This is like when you're not moving at the same pace, or you feel
Yes.
like you need
Absolutely.
more in the relationship. And so we want to talk about that. And so one thing my husband said last night, we were talking about this. So we went out to dinner and we were talking about this subject, and he was saying, these are things that they should consider. And I said, yeah, because we ain't marriage experts. Let me just tell you,
Yes.
we're still trying to figure this thing out too. So we're not trying to give you advice. We're just saying maybe some of these things you should consider in this area as we're considering and as we're experiencing our relationship. And at the end of the day, God's word and God's will,
Yes, that's
supersedes.
foremost
Yes,
first in
yes.
us is always to seek God's advice,
Yes.
God's leadership and his tutelage.
Yes,
and
yes.
What his word says about anything you're going
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, and
But
because
we
God
definitely
is
want-
love,
Yes.
and if you want love, you got to tap into God.
Yes,
So
but we definitely want to share some things that we've gone through, some things that we've heard, we've experienced, and this what those things meant to us and what some of those possibilities are. That way, if you are going through something where you find yourself in some of these similar situations, it may hopefully give you a couple of things to think about before you actually come to a decision of what you think you should do,
Right.
just to make sure that you're doing what's best for you.
right. So the topic today is when you need more in the relationship.
Yes, that's huge.
When you need more in the relationship, and again, this could be at the beginning, just meeting a person, interest is exchanged, and you feel like he or she is not going fast enough or at your pace, or it could be even in the marriage, you feel like you need more. All right, so we're going to try to break them down, all right,
Yes.
to some things to consider.
So what's the first one?
The first one is you need to consider that what you need from him or her is actually their responsibility to give you.
Oh wow, yes, and that's a big one.
Yeah,
and,
that's a big one.
And this is one of those that you really want to think about. Like she said, you see it sometimes when people first get in a relationship, but you can also see it when people have been married for a while,
Yeah.
and things kind of get a little stagnant, or you feel like it's not moving at a certain rate, or you're not going at the pace you want to, and you want that other person to give a little more. in a certain area. And
It could be because you could give that, you could demand from a person, like say if you have a low self-esteem, and I need him to, pay attention to me more. I need him to compliment me more. And maybe it's not he could be complimenting you, and it's really something that's rooted in you that may have come from childhood or something. That's an area that you may need to seek deliverance or therapy or counseling in. If he's not giving, or he or she is not giving you, that filling that void, a lot of times is a spiritual void that needs to be filled, and you can't fill it with another person. A lot of times people go into relationship and trauma bond. That is huge these days that we're recognizing, we're bonding over trauma. And when one person gets delivered and they feel like they're not in that, that area, and you feel like, okay, well, I still need him. I still need her in that area. And it's like, no, I've been delivered now. Let's work to get your deliverance. Because that, when you're trying to get somebody to give you more, sometimes that can go over into idolatry, where you start to idolize that person in a relationship. So that's the first one. Consider what you need more of is that other person's responsibility, because it may not be that person's responsibility to give you more in that area, especially when it comes to depleting the other person, because they can keep feeding you where they're depleted. And so that's the first one.
Absolutely.
That's the first one. What's the second one?
The second one is, you read it there.
Oh, consider the narrative that you've already set in your head of how the relationship should be.
Oh yeah, that's probably more of a woman thing than a man thing.
Sometimes we can already have in our head how the relationship should be, how our wedding is gonna be, where we're gonna live, the place, the businesses. When my husband comes, we already know we're gonna start this business, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna have this, and we're gonna have that. Things that we probably set in our head from childhood. Also things that well, I was prophesied over, or somebody told me so, or God told me this is how the relationship is going to be. And once you meet the person and starting to get to know the person, the imagination that you have, the story that you have in your head, that other person, is impossible for them to know. And so you feel like, okay, he's not giving me more, he's not giving me this, I need more, and he don't even know what you got in your head. And so a lot of times that energy, it could repel a person, it could make a person run, it could make a person, they got these fantasies in their head, and I can't fulfill it. Like I don't. First of all, I don't even know what they are. And so so I would say like I know one of the things that I did when I first got when we first came together, I squashed everything, like everything that I had set in my head how it should be. I was willing to let it go. Like I always thought I was going to get married. First of all, I thought I was going to get married in my 20s. So that's neither here nor there.
So I definitely meet that one.
Yeah, right. But the other thing is I thought that I was going to have this fall wedding. I was going to get married in fall, and these were going to be the colors, and these was going to be this, and it was going to be this. And all of that, I thought we was going to live here. I thought we was going to have this. All of that went out the window. It became a thing of, after we got together, we talked about what we wanted, not what I wanted, what our dreams were, not what my dreams were. Like, we brought things to the table, but a lot of that, sometimes that story in our head, that narrative, it has to be removed. Yeah. Because he or she can't possibly know all that's in your head.
No. And the biggest thing about all of this is it happens for both sides. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and it happens at different times throughout your relationship, to where you just assume, or you hope, you wish something would go a certain way. Sometimes it's just best that when you have those feelings, especially if it's one of those lingering feelings where you just can't get it out of your head, and you're like, well, this has been on my mind for a couple of weeks now, mm-hmm. and you see that your mood is starting to change because of that. Maybe it's time to sit that other person down and say, look, here's what's here's what I've been thinking.
Here's
and
what I've been thinking.
Here's what it is done to me. And if and if you think that my mood has changed, or I'm feeling a certain way, or I'm doing something different, this might be the reason why. And once you break that down and allow that person to be like, oh, okay, because it may be something that could be done, but they don't know that it exists. So,
because it's all in your narrative in your head.
It's something
and
you live by yourself.
You live in a fantasy by yourself, and it's closing that other person out. So if they're not giving you more, it's because they don't even know to give you more, because it's in your head. So
especially in a particular area.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. Number three. Oh my God.
That's number 3.
Consider the boundaries you've already spoken in the relationship.
That's a very
Oh my gosh.
strong one.
This is strong, and this is something that goes undetected.
Yeah.
And as women and as men, but especially women, we got to watch what we say out our mouths. We got to watch what we post and repost on social media, because that other person could want to get to know you, want to take the relationship to the next level, but we've set the boundaries by what we say. And some of those boundaries that are spoken could be something as simple as, he need to bring something to the table. Yeah. He got to bring something to the table, or he better come correct. Or, nobody can love me like my daddy loved me. Or, those are setting boundaries that you don't realize that you're setting. Or God told me that my husband is going to... If God said that, keep it to yourself. Like, some things don't always need to be verbalized, because it can set a boundary for that person. Like, you thinking, well, shucks, I want to... Like, we don't go out enough. And he over here trying to work hard, 3 jobs, because he's trying to bring something to the table, because that's what you said. Yeah. That's what you said out your mouth. Like, he better bring something to the table. And so sometimes, we can set a verbal boundary, and the person ain't gonna cross it. It happens all the time.
And you don't know where that person's past experiences come from.
Yes.
That might even trigger something to make that person start to repel a little bit.
Yeah.
And start to look at reasons why maybe that wasn't the right relationship for him or her.
Yep.
So you have to be careful there too.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something to consider and something to bring up if that opportunity presents itself for you.
I remember when we started, when we came across each other, when we were friends on social media. When we had connected on social media, we still hadn't been sending each other anything, but it was at that point I considered every single thing I posted on social media. At that point, I developed this thing called Post Positive. Everything I considered, everything that I posted and reposted on social media, because you can post something and repost something, and it can be detrimental. Yeah.
I will go on your wall.
Yes.
Especially in the beginning, if it's somebody that I'm thinking of having a relationship with, I will go on the wall to see, well, who is this person? Because I don't know her. And see exactly what you're saying about yourself.
They can set a boundary. Yep. I remember when we were getting to know each other, and he was following Trump, and it came up on his timeline, and we had a disagreement about it. Like,
She still misinterpreted, because I ain't never followed Trump.
Right. And I think it was because at the businessman Trump, because I used to watch The Apprentice, Celebrity Apprentice. So I think it was the businessman Trump that we were following back in the day.
I wasn't following that. He hit me up on some things for...
well, it was his business. You know how, So that's how But the thing is that can set a boundary. That can say, okay, I want us to be able to talk about politics, but I won't, because I don't like his political position. Yeah. Or so it's just like, you gotta be
on me about that.
I'm telling
what are you talking about?
I'm telling you, that was in the beginning.
Said that I follow Trump. I was like, Facebook? Really? Oh, you gotta be kidding.
But it can set a boundary. It can set a boundary, and it's like, okay, I need more in that area, but it's like, no, I ain't trying to get no discussion with him about no politics. Like, first of all, he this and I'm this, and I don't even know if it's gonna work, and I don't even. But we had to talk about it. But yeah, so you just never know what how you can speak something out your mouth can set a boundary, and you need more in the area, and is that person ain't gonna cross over the line you set. So, yep. Number 4.
What's number 4?
Number 4 is consider mutual interest. Instead of saying, okay, well, I need him more to do more in this area, come over more in my world. And, I hear a lot of people say it this way, I feel like, I'm not getting more because he never wants to come around my family. He never wants to be around my family. And I know if we lived in Maryland, I probably would wear him out with my family. If we lived in Maryland, because my family, they're camping now. My family does something every single weekend. They're celebrating a birthday. They're doing family dinners. It's a weddings. It's whatever. It's all kind of graduations, recitals, and housewarmings, and they camping this weekend, and they doing this, and it would wear him out. And so if you say, okay, well, I feel like, I need more of him. He doesn't come around my family enough. It's like, okay, well, maybe consider a mutual thing that y'all can do and bond over that, because then you won't feel like you need him more in an area when y'all have y'all mutual area together that y'all bond over.
Yeah, because you have to, one thing you need to understand, everybody needs to understand that even when you're in a long-term relationship, you still need your personal space. You still need that day or that time where you hanging out to just be you, to do what you want to do, whether if it's a guy, whether he wants to go fishing, whether he wants to go shoot pool, whether he wants to do whatever. He needs to be able to, because that's what's going to keep him being the strongest that he can be for you, is for him to be the strongest version of himself. Right. So if you take away the things that he do to release negative energy
or to require that he do in your world
both parties need that. And so what I would just share with you is, before you start putting so many demands on either person spending more time in your world doing the things you want to do, kind of reflect on what you guys are doing together already. And if there isn't anything you're doing together already, then get together and create some things. Like we like to go walking. We like to go to vineyards. We like to drive. So we
like the mountains.
There are things we do together that we both love to do individually, but we do them together.
Right.
Then when I go bowling on Wednesdays, she's okay with me going bowling because we need
I don't feel like, oh my God,
time.
He's not here on Wednesday. Or like on Sundays. Yeah. Now it's football season. It's like on Sundays all day. He is on the sofa in front of the TV and all day from early in the morning. He catching the pre-stuff till 10, 11 o'clock at night. And somebody might say, okay, well, I need more, I need that time. He's not giving me attention. I need more. And it's like, okay, but Friday, Saturday is all us. And so, like, dude, I'm glad it's football season because I'm doing my thing now. So it's like, find a mutual thing, and then an area where you find some mutual connection, some mutual interest, and then you don't feel like you need more of him in an area. Absolutely. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that.
And then number 5 is a big one.
Yeah, that's why it's number 5. It had to come last because we have no idea how long we can talk on this particular subject. But what is it?
Number 5, when you feel like you need more in a relationship, you have to consider how he or she is communicating with you, because they could be giving you more and you just don't realize it.
That's huge. That is huge. When you break down communication, there are so many different angles you can come from and different areas you can come from. For an example, you can look at your love language. You know, everybody talks about love language, but I think what I don't hear people talking about is the second side of love language, which is, for an example, her love language is words of confirmation.
Words of affirmation.
So here's the issue. She needs to hear it. Well, I need to learn how to speak it to where she receives it in the way that she needs it. So it's two parts to it.
Right.
So you can't
giving
say,
and receiving of that person's love language.
Absolutely. So at the same token, mine is different. Mine is touch. So there's a difference in one, the touch for me, but then two, her understanding that. So when you're looking at love language, don't just look at how that person needs to receive it. You also have to look at how the other person needs to give it so it's received in the proper way. So that person recognizes it and say, wow, okay, he or she is giving me those words of affirmation, and he is or she is touching or whatever that is, or if it's gifts or whatever it is, you're doing it in the proper way. And that's something that you have to learn.
You got to learn it. You got to be willing to take your time, because a lot of women say, you know, I feel like we need to go out more. We don't go out more. You know, we've been 6 months in, and, you know, I feel like we need to, you know, so your love language may be quality time. And he like, you know, every morning I'm texting you good morning. Every night before we go to bed, you know, I'm telling you good night, because his love language might be words of affirmation. So he's giving you more in his love language, but you're needing more. So it's like you gotta learn each other's love language. I remember during the pandemic, you know, it worked out for me, because, you know, and that's why I didn't tell too many people about our relationship, because people wouldn't understand. It's like, okay, well, y'all don't see each other, and you, even though he lived long distance, you all don't say, when y'all gonna see each other? Oh, you okay with that? Yeah, I'm okay with that. Because guess what? Every day he's sending me a song, a love song, and my love language is words of affirmation. So that sufficed for me. He was giving me more of what I needed, and so that person could be communicating to you more. You just not
in the way you need
right. You just not receiving it.
That's
so you
conversation.
That's a whole conversation. You gotta open up to receive.